You wake up to the soft sound of waves brushing the shore. Morning light filters through linen curtains as you stretch, step onto your balcony, and sip your coffee. Slowly. No rush, no stress. A gentle breeze carries the scent of the ocean. And for the first time in a long time, you feel at peace. Now imagine this isn't a vacation. It's your everyday life. And everything, your seaside apartment, fresh meals, even weekly yoga or massages, is covered by a single social security check. For a growing number of Americans over 55, this isn't fantasy, it's reality. They're not just relocating, they're reimagining what retirement means. In this episode, we explore why thousands of Americans are leaving the US to retire overseas, and why for many, it's not a step away from the American dream, but a step closer to it. For decades, retirement in America meant two things: Florida or Arizona. A golf course, a condo, maybe a gated community with water aerobics and bingo nights. But somewhere along the way, that dream began to fade. Costs kept climbing. Healthcare grew harder to afford, and people started asking, is this really it? Now, a new wave of retirees is answering that question differently. They're not just downsizing in the suburbs, they're crossing oceans. They're not fading into the background. They're finding joy, purpose, and value in places they never expected. Mexico, Portugal, Thailand, Ecuador, Vietnam. These aren't vacation spots anymore. They're home. They're the next chapter. Because maybe the American dream hasn't disappeared. Maybe it's just changing its address. Let's talk numbers. Because while dreams are emotional, decisions like moving abroad are also deeply practical. In 2013, just over 320,000 retired Americans were living overseas and collecting Social Security. A decade later, that number has climbed past 450,000, and it's still growing. Why? Because the math works. In the US, $3,000 a month barely covers rent, utilities, and basic insurance. But in cities like Da Nang, Vietnam, or Cuenca, Ecuador, that same income can cover a fully furnished apartment, private health care, fresh, local food, and still leave enough for travel, hobbies, or simply peace of mind. This isn't about luxury. It's about no longer choosing between groceries and prescriptions. They're not running away from responsibility. They're reclaiming freedom after decades of work and sacrifice. Sometimes, the smartest financial move is also the most human one. So, where are retirees going? Let's look at some of the most popular destinations. Mexico. It's close, it's warm, it's affordable. Cities like San Miguel de Allende offer charm, culture, and community. Many retirees live well on $2,000 a month or even less. Portugal. With its mild climate, modern healthcare, and historic towns, it's Europe at half the price. Cities like Lisbon and Porto are walkable, safe, and incredibly welcoming. Vietnam. Fast internet, fresh food, beachside living, and a dollar that stretches far. Expats say Vietnam offers a calm, dignified life at a fraction of US costs. Ecuador and Colombia. Mild weather, vibrant cities, and low costs. Places like Cuenca and Medellin are becoming global retirement hubs. Each destination tells a different story, but they all offer the same promise: a chance to live more while spending less. Not perfect. No place is. But many who've made the move say, for the first time, I feel like I belong. At first, it's about saving money, but stay a little longer and you'll hear something deeper. It's about being seen again. In the US, aging can feel like fading away. Even after a lifetime of work, many still worry about copays or outliving their savings. But overseas, some rediscover a respect they thought was gone. Doctors who take their time, locals who smile, streets where you're not rushed, ignored, or pushed aside. And most of all, the joy of beginning again. One woman in Vietnam said, "Back home, I felt like I was winding down. Here I feel like I'm just beginning, on my own terms." This isn't about running away. It's about redefining what life after 60 can look like. Not slowing down, but finally, opening up. Meet Jim and Carla. They spent 35 years in Michigan, doing everything right. But when retirement came, the math didn't work, and the life didn't feel right. They took a trip to Portugal just to look. 6 months later, they moved. Now, a riverside apartment, new friends, weekly adventures, and monthly costs? Half of what they paid in the US. But let's be honest, this life isn't for everyone. There's culture shock, bureaucracy, language gaps, and yes, sometimes it gets lonely. But if you value presence over possessions, curiosity over comfort, peace over pace, then this life might be closer than you think. Ask yourself, do I want more life in my years, not just more years? Am I open to a different kind of freedom? If the answer is yes, even a small yes, maybe it's time to explore. Maybe this isn't your path, or maybe it's been waiting for you all along. Not everyone will move abroad, but everyone deserves to ask, what if life could feel different? Because the freedom we work for isn't always a place. Sometimes, it's a feeling. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this spoke to you, even a little, subscribe to the Global Thread TV, leave a comment, and tell us, where in the world would you start over? This isn't the end, it's the first step. What if?